All right. All right. Being recorded. I can handle that.
All righty. Well, this is
Good.
New York. If you need to use whatever language you want to use, this is New York, so it's not a big deal.
Oh,
Brian's
thank
from New
God.
York, so he knows what we get
Yes.
along with up here.
I always think
So
any of my patients who curse, I thank them for making me feel like I'm home.
everybody talk to Brian Lieberman from New York, practicing in Rome, Georgia, speaker at DE. Uh, Heard a lot about him from Mike Shred. So Brian, you're welcome to Florida. Go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, no, those who know me, sometimes I'm on Lieberman time, so I apologize for holding you up. As a matter of fact, no matter how many times I was reminded of this, I almost forgot. Literally came upstairs from the office, did a doctor's report, and then told my wife, "Oh yeah, I have a call at 8:30, cooking steaks," and just completely forgot again. So, but that's I think that's one of my secrets to success is that I don't let my mind get too filled up with too many things. It's I can just kind of roll with it, but I do apologize for being late because I not gonna lie, I forgot. But I want to talk about I the last time I was at DE, we had a talk. I did a talk about because my daughter was coming in as an intern, so she my daughter Bree turns 25 on Wednesday. She graduates on Friday from Life University, and then will be coming with us into practice. It seems like it's amazing how that. I don't know if anybody else has kids who have done this, but we were coming home from DE when she was in 11th grade, I think it was, or maybe even the summer of 10th grade. She was always going to be in marketing. She was terrible at school, honestly, like math, like could not, or science was like just not good for her at all. And she was going to do something that did more writing and reading type of things. And we were coming home from DE, and she always interacted. You know, I always told people I never wanted to speak at DE. I just want to raise my kids there. And we were coming home on a plane. I'll never forget. She was in the aisle next to us, and she looked over and she's like, "Yeah, I'm going to be a chiropractor." We're like, "What?" She's like, I love this place. I love the office. I don't. Why would I do anything else?" So we were like, "Oh, that's awesome," but no joke, did not think that would last very long at all. You know, as a teenager, I mean, she would change her mind 3 times in a day. Forget about getting through high school, through undergraduate, and then going to chiropractic school. From that day, the girl has never wavered 1 second from doing it, which totally blows me away. When she got into undergraduate at University of North Carolina, Greensboro, she went there. She had a pretty serious boyfriend, and she would call Life University and ask them what classes to take so that she could fast track to get to Life quicker. And she would base her every quarter, every semester. She would pick the classes that would get her those 90 credits that you needed, so that you can then do the concurrent type of whatever it's called, where you get your undergraduate alongside of your graduate degree. And went to chiropractic school with her fiance at that point. They ended up breaking off. Now she's actually been with a girl for the last year and a half, but still very close with him. He then decided to go to chiropractic school 6 months later, and she fell back 1 quarter, he gained 1 quarter, so they're both graduating this time, which is pretty cool. He's still like a son to me. But when I was at DE, what I realized is that I was on uh, coasting mode for a lot of years. This has been my 28th year in practice, September. And we were always very good at having a high volume family office like that. We created great systems, and the systems came from usually removing stuff from what we were doing. And we, quickly, a couple of years in, we're at 500, 600, 700, and 800 visits a week. And then we just kind of stayed at 750 for years. One associate. Usually I had one for 12 years. Now I've had one for 14 years, August 1st. And we literally could not, just between referrals and just doing a great job in the office, we could stay there, pretty much no problem. And that went on for probably 5, 6, 7 years. I don't even know. But finally, the amount of effort caught up to us, and we started dropping down into like the 600s and stuff. And for me, that starts to become boredom. So I'm like, this is not working. And what happened was Bree, who never wanted to be back in Rome where we are, then decided, I want to do my internship at your office. Okay. So come intern. Well, it was right before that. DE was the weekend before the Monday she started in the office. And I realized, sorry, I was just cooking. I realized that she deserved to see us when we were great. Me and my wife built that practice together, and we worked our asses off and kicked ass for a lot of years to get to a position where it was kind of on cruise control. But she didn't deserve to just come in and see cruise control. She deserved to come in and see how we were when we built that practice, when it was Dr. Sid and going to DE and doing what we were, what we learned to do. So I kind of committed that we're going back from good to great. Like we've got it. And I realized when I did the whole talk that I really talked about how my daughter deserved to see great. And I was flying home on the plane and I was like, well, my patients deserve to see great too. Like, that might be a better thing outcome wise for them as well, being completely on point and on fire and filled with purpose. So we decided to, and we made just some very simple changes. And really what we did is we went back to what Dr. Sid used to call blocking and tackling, like doing the things that made our office grow. The biggest thing that we stopped doing during COVID because we couldn't do group report of findings was our doctor's report, our group doctor's report, which did every Monday night for 20 something years. And then Monday and Saturday, my associate would do the other one. And that's what took one person with back pain and turned into a family of 4 that were there for years and years and years, and still there, a lot of them, most of them, obviously not most, you lose a lot of people, but that's what grew our practice into as I was like realizing that I wasn't quite as on point as I was. There would be times where like a patient would come in and I would tell them something and they literally would look at me like, man, you wouldn't have told me that 20 years ago. And I'm like, you're right, just getting a little lazy on it, man. And so we went back to, let's educate the people on what the hell we do. Sit there and tell them what a subluxation is, how it affects your life, how it can your life can be improved by removing that and keeping it removed, and how your family should get that as well. And it started just growing back to 700 again. And then my associate started going back and doing lunch and learn. She's just been talking to her patients and people we know, and she's probably done, I don't know, 6 to 8 of them in the last 4 weeks, where we just, our one patient, she's a real estate agent. All right, well, on Mondays they have a meeting. The whole staff of the real estate agents have a meeting. Well, we'll bring you in lunch and we'll sit and give us 15 minutes to talk about it. And instead of charging $125 for an exam and $55 for the first adjustment, we'll do $100 exam plus first adjustment, make an appointment, and amazing how that energy. She just did 2 different churches, and it was cool because they're both Black churches. It was such a fun. These older Black women are just freaking such awesome, just bring great energy to the office. But really just going back to basics. And that's whenever I talk to somebody about practice or growing a practice, blocking and tackling is all I can really talk about. I don't have any magic. Maybe you guys have some magic. Doing what it is that we learned, giving, loving, and serving out of our own abundance with no expectation of return, setting up systems so that there is return, but not doing it based on the return, is really what I learned at DE. That, when you become one with innate, you become dynamic, and that is essential to you. And we used to call it, like, when you're on fire, people come to watch you burn. And that is really what we've just fallen back in love with, taking care of the people, with educating the people, with the process of watching people's lives get turned on again by chiropractic. It's so easy to forget. It's incredible how I can watch how many people complain about their backs based on where my head is at. It's insane. Like when I'm completely on, it's half as many by easily half as many talking about what their backs are like. And I know that's directly tied to where my freaking head is at. I've learned and I just tell everybody that your practice is probably a perfect reflection of you. That's of where you're at the time. That doesn't mean good or bad. It doesn't mean if you have a killer practice that you're just the best person. If you don't, you're the worst. But let's go with, for me, and what I've seen is that my practice is basically commiserate to the amount of energy and effort that I'm putting into the practice at that time, and where my mindset is when I'm doing it. The more disconnected I am, the more I stay out of it, where I stay disconnected from outcomes, where I am trying to please them less and I'm trying to adjust less segments. That is when my practice just hums along beautifully. And it's for me, and again, I only speak for myself and my experience with other people that I know, is that when I'm on the office, the energy in the office is just spot on. And when I'm not, it's not. And that to me is the game. That's why Dr. Sid always talked about it being a head game. And that's why he put so much effort into working on the chiropractors' mindsets and some into their procedures and things. DE, these that breakout rooms, they had the DE manual is still there, which, talks about how to basically run an office, how to get new patients. But the majority of what Dr. Sid did was mindset. And, he used to always tell us that, if I can get your why big enough, the hows will take care of themselves. And for me, it's a definite. When I'm losing sight of exactly why I'm doing it, or losing the passion for doing it, it just changes. So, the first 3 months of our internship with her, I was spot on, and it was fantastic. Like, we killed it in the office. And then slipping and checking, then went back to DE, and then had to, all right, get back. And that's why I love DE every 3 or 4 months. You guys might be able to do without it. I'm not that good. So I have to go and keep myself plugged in with people around me, reminders. And I always say, sometimes I go there and I have a lot to give, and sometimes I go there because I need to get, and to me, it just effortlessly happens that way, that there are times um, for both things to work. And that's one of the things that I appreciate, is that, I have people there who can hold me accountable to do what it is they know I want and need to be doing. And that's the brotherhood, sisterhood that we've developed there. And if you haven't been to DE in a long time, we welcome you. It's fully nonprofit, so nobody makes any money. I pay for my hotel and flights when it's in Florida. And so there's the rest of the board and Didi Umber. And if you haven't seen Didi Umber in a while, or don't know who he is, you should get down there just to shake this 91-year-old's hand and get a picture with him, because he's an absolute living. Did anybody see him when he came up to New York?
Yeah.
With Dr. Sid?
Yeah.
Or
Mhm.
or when Forelli brought him up?
Yep.
Yep.
That was probably the most recent. Yeah, we almost lost him in
Washington.
Queens. That was terrible. Me and O'Halloran walking, we turn around and Beth and Dr. Umber are missing. We're like, oh Jesus. Like, but
Hey,
but
Brian, I
that's
got a
what.
question for you.
Yes, absolutely.
With this headspace and everything else, and you say
Yeah.
you brought your practice back up by doing your doctor's report and stuff. The biggest thing that I talk to everybody, how do you get people to come to the doctor's report? How do you get people to come to the lay lecture? What is your headspace? And then how
Yeah.
do you make sure people get there?
Yeah. I forgot to also tell you, the other probably bigger thing that I did besides doctor's report is I started doing 49 breaths before every shift again. Has anybody done 49 breaths? I know, Leo, I know you have.
Yeah.
Has anybody not done them?
Do you do that with your staff?
Me, with the docs. So me, the docs, and the interns. We do it. And I've been meaning, so I appreciate you asking that, to bring in my main staff member also to do it. We do it in the back of the office 30 minutes before shift. We go through the affirmations, and that by far is even bigger because it's mindset stuff. We affirm what it is we're gonna be. But let me go through, because that's a really, to me, that one's easily answered procedurally, because if you put the procedures in place, your headspace should be just right. So my first visit, they come in the office. When I'm doing my console is, hey, tell me what's going on. I listen to what's going on, and they say, well, the weird thing is I don't know how to fix that back pain, but your body does. The nervous system is what controls all that, but it also controls other things. Um, when a bone misaligns, it can interfere with the nervous system, very similar to like a dimmer switch on a light bulb. Turn the power down, not enough, all of it gets through, light doesn't shine the way it's supposed to. Very similar in the body. We call that dimmer switch of subluxations. When a bone misaligns, interferes with the nervous system. That's what we do in this office. If you're subluxated, we can do a ton for you. So we're going to do an exam, see if you are, posture, thermography, take X-rays, and then after it, we're gonna put you on a table and go through a series of tests. And if we think we can help you, we're going to do your first adjustment right then. That's all we'll do today. Give me a chance to go over the exam results with how the adjustment went. Your second visit is where what we call doctor's report. It's where we go over and show you everything. What we found, show you your x-rays, go over care plan, explain what we do, show you financial options. That's where you decide if or when or what you want to do. Anything further in the office. There's no charge for that report. It's included in your initial exam fee. If you do decide to go forward and we get you adjusted, then there will be a fee, but you'll know exactly what it is. I don't ask if they can come. I don't ask if they, and then when I do
Smooth.
come in, go ahead.
Very smooth. I like it.
I just keep it very simple, but also Dr. Sid taught me to speak with authority, and it doesn't mean you try and bully anybody. So here's my mindset. You came to see me for a reason. Let me do my job. I don't tell them that. I don't act like cocky, like, oh, I'm the best, but in my mindset, they called my office and said, hey, we want to make an appointment. So in my opinion, they want my help. So I just go through what I do. Does it help that we have a great name in a little bit, not the hugest town, for 28 years? It does. A lot of people come in does it help that we have 200 and something 5-star reviews? It does. That all that stuff helps. Does it help that we have a staff that knows how to do? Does it help that they read about subluxation first? Yeah, it does. Does it help that we do an office tour? It does. Does it help that, and we show them all the people who've been here 20 years and 15 years and 5 years? And then does it help that we play a video before we come in there? Absolutely does. All those things. I feel like everything, even how we answer the phone, has to do with how their level of trust is going to be to follow the game, to come through, show them how to, Dr. Not Grassham, Santo used to say, you got to just show them how to participate. So that's what I feel like I'm doing. I'm just showing them how to participate. So now when I go in to do the first adjustment, and I'm like, listen, you're definitely subluxated, which is, bad and good. That's what we, can help in this office. Let me go through a few tests. And I don't say you definitely are. I say you appear to be, because all I have is thermography at that point. So now I'm going to go through, and I go through leg checks, leg raises, arm raises, temperature. And then I'll be like, well, let's go ahead and I'll go forward and I'll do the first adjustment. After the first adjustment, I'll tell them there's 3 things that can happen. They might not feel any difference, which never happens. 2, they could be sore. 3, most likely you're going to feel great. You probably sleep like a charm, and you feel like, so I go through that. There can be 3 different things that happen. And then I just turn and I'm like, so let's say they come in on a Wednesday. I'm like, so the Monday night there's one Thursday morning, but I usually don't try and do it one day out. So I'll be like, Monday evening, 6:45 is when we do our reports. We close at 6:30, then 6:45, we do our reports. Can you make it Monday night? And then from there, I go through objections to see if it's it. So, I have a lot of plant workers. They literally work, 7 to 7 and are off 2 days. All right, well, we'll set up a report of findings on Wednesday during office hours. And I'll tell them, when they're going through, I'm like, I want to spend time with you, showing you what I can do and how I do it and all that stuff. So we try to do it during when the office is not open. As you can see, it's busy, which again helps, that they see it busy. And then I'll do a report of findings. And my report of findings is as similar as I can do to my 12 to 15-minute doctor's report, but I do it privately, one-on-one. But it's much more powerful as a group, much more powerful. And when I explain to them, so that I say, all right, we're going to come in first. We're going to go over how we do what we do. Then I don't tell them we're going to be upfront, but then I say, then we're going to bring you back by yourself, show you your X-rays, care plan, finances, and that's where you make your decision. walk up front, and I always make sure I tell my staff member in front of them what we agreed on. Because they have a much harder time often saying no to the doctor, but then change, they can change it sometimes to a staff member. So I just try to avoid that. So I just go up and I lay out what we're going to do. So let's say they came in today on a Monday as a new patient, and they can't make Thursday morning. So I'm going to next Monday. I'll tell them, listen, I don't really like leaving somebody a full week after a first adjustment. Most of my people, I start on 2 days a week for 2 weeks, 1 day for 2 weeks, or 2 days a week for 4 weeks, just depending on where they're at. I don't do a 3 day a week anymore, almost never. So I will set them up for a visit. I'll tell them, listen, I don't want to leave you a full week. Can you make it in Thursday sometime, either between 10 and 12, 3 to 6:30? Let me check you. You'll pay a per visit charge again that day. And then on Monday, I'll show you how we do the finances, go of everything. And then again, go through any objections there might be. And is it 100%? No, but it's pretty darn good. It's pretty darn. Pre-COVID, it was probably, 90%. Now we're a little, I'd call lazier, so that's just being honest, but much better back again, getting on them. Tonight, we had two people in one's car, couldn't make it. So I did it individually in a room, but did a doctor's report, basically did a pretty darn good job. It's more
And
powerful in a
you said
group.
before your doctor's report is done to 12 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, it started at an hour years ago, and now it's down to 15 minutes, I'd say. I mean, I used to, it's fun. I remember, so a lot of the things that, so a lot of times when I'm doing something, I'll all of a sudden start hearing this little voice in the back of my head. Like I'll start explaining them something about the report of findings, and then I'll be like, "Is that true, really? Like, can you affect that?" And that's how I take things out of my stuff. So I realized as I was going through like the fifth example of like why chiropractic does what it does. I saw people going from nodding, like almost not on the edge of the seat, you know what I mean, but like very to like losing interest. So I was like, maybe the one analogy is enough, and it seems to be. It seems to be. So I try to just I kind of have an outline on it. If anybody wants to hear one, like we usually have them that we give to like interns, or they record me doing it. So if you ever want me to send it to somebody, just you're more than welcome to it. But I try, and then when I first go up, the first thing I just some of them I don't know because I have an associate or don't know well, so I'll just introduce myself, and then I will let them know that listen, just I just need 12 to 15 minutes of your time. Most people come in, don't really know exactly what chiropractors do. And I always kind of want people to make an educated decision. So I figure I should probably show you what I do before I ask you to make that decision. And then you go right into saying, to me, if you wanted to go to the gym, and your reason for going to the gym is you wanted to lose weight, and you went to that gym, and the gym owner said, hey, let me give you a little tour of the place. And they said, when you exercise regularly, not only does it might help you lose weight, but it also might help your heart function better. And if I'm in the mood, I might ask them if you think that's true or false. And people are always like, oh yeah. And then I say, then I won't ask it. But I'm like, it helps your lungs function better. Can help you digest food better, help you sleep better, help depression, help your immune system function better. And all of those are true. And what I find is that most people wouldn't be upset if they went to the gym to lose weight and found that at the same time that it might help these other things within their body. And that's similar to what we do here. And that's why I'm going to just kind of give you a little bit of information to explain to you what it is chiropractic does so that you can make that decision and hopefully be here for a long time. And that's the next thing I tell them is like, listen, just to be very straightforward and upfront is my goal is for you to be under care for the rest of your life. I'm hoping by the end of this, and then I'll say, and listen, if that gym owner said he thinks you should exercise at that gym or at a gym for the rest of your life, would you think that was crazy? Well, no, of course not. Well, I'm hoping by the end of this, when you understand what we do and why we do it and how it can affect you, you won't think it's crazy either. So I preempt everything, just to make sure. I also love authenticity. Like, so I don't want them to be waiting for something. Let me just tell them straight up front, and then they can relax and either be completely not relaxed or just relaxed because I at least told them. So, it tends to work well. Then we go into, just definition of health, how the nervous system controls that. And then, so usually the whole first part is what I call anatomy and physiology, nothing to do with chiropractic. Then I just show them how the the misalignment of the spine can cause that interference and then cause less function in the body, and that's the only chiropractic part there is, that we can adjust the spine, remove that interference, and allow your brain to communicate with your body better. That intelligence that created you to run through the nervous system like electricity through a wire, unimpeded, and your body performs better. And people think it's miracles, and really what it is a return to normal function. And then go over the upper cervical a bit, because I like to make sure they know how important it is. And then from the upper cervical, go into to 40% of the office is kids, and then why go into childbirth, talk about a little bit about the brainstem, and tell them, I try to do 4 things: educate you on why you might want it, get your results, hopefully ones you didn't expect, and make it convenient, make it affordable. And sometimes I'll go into how we do our schedule, that we don't have appointments for adjustments, and also that most of our people pay by time rather than individual visit. It makes it much less expensive. And then that's it. It's 15, usually 15 minutes. If I have a good group, it could go longer sometimes if they're just really into it. If you have a really bad group and they're totally the opposite direction, which usually is from me, not from them, then it can be a little bit shorter. But that's the basic gist of it, and the time frame for it.
That was phenomenal, buddy. Really good. Anybody else have any questions for Brian?
Yeah. No, you guys are awesome, man. We're coming up in August. Maybe we'll come say hello. I was supposed to go see Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks, but you heard about Billy Joel. He needs an adjustment. That's what you guys got to get on. You got to send him the video of from 60 Minutes or whatever it was of Jim McMahon, the quarterback, getting adjusted.
Right.
I don't know what it is, but it sounds a whole lot like it, man. Like somebody needs to flush that toilet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm bummed. We were coming up for that, but that got canceled, but we're still going to come up with some friends. So
cool.
Oh, let me know.
Love and appreciate all of you. Thanks for having me on. Always a
All right,
pleasure.
guys.
If I can help anybody get to DE, just let me know. I'm going to bail out and go have some dinner with my wife. I love you.
Enjoy.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it,
Brian,
buddy.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot.
Have a good night, guys.
See ya.
And he was